drained. That was such an emotional All-Stars episode. And you know, quite frankly, I've run out of Kleenex. I don't even have toilet paper. Oh, hey! Hi! It's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 5 Episode 3. And before we get started, of course, I would like to send out a little thank you to all of my PayPal tippers out there. And I just need to say, every time I see that, it just absolutely warms my heart, the generosity. I'm so glad that you like what I do enough to help me do it. And you really do with your tips and support through Patreon or Redbubble. And of course, all those links are down below if you're wondering what I'm talking about. But first off, I just want to thank Philip Weatherspoon and of course, Christina Shields, Rudy Giachetti. I hope I said that right, Rudy, because you know how I am with too many consonants in a name. I also want to thank Cameron Brooks, Travis Cool. I hope that's how you say your name, Travis. That's how I'm going to say it anyway. And Cornelia Stenberg, John Dwyer. Again, John, you're flirting with me. Stop it. And Tan Dreg. Is that everybody? I think that's everybody. I also want to send a personal shout out to Katie Did. Katie and I have been, well, we're family now, aren't we, Katie? We've known each other far too long. But she just bought a couple of buttons, as you can see there, one for each breastises, and a little mobile phone confirmation of me. I just thought that was adorable. So, hey, Katie, cooey doll, thanks so much for all your support. And if you're interested, as I said, the links are all down below. But that's not why you're here. I know why you're here. Jorge, drink me. Oh, what is this? It's your own signature cocktail? The Jorge Margarita. Okay, why is it yours? Because it's just Fresca and tequila. So it's lazy. All right, we'll just call it the lazy margarita. How's that sound? Olay, shut up. So, we started this episode off with more than a couple of the queens feeling emotionally drained. Well, except for Shea Coulee, whose bank account was filled to the brim with $20,000. That just proves the old adage, money makes everything easier. And if you don't agree with that statement, well then, give me your money, I'll make it easier, seriously. Something that made all the queens feel better was finding out that Ongina had voted herself off. Well, almost all the queens. Poor Alexis was still pretty angry that Ongina had given up, and Blair made it all about her by saying that if she had been sent home, she would have been very upset to find out that another queen had given up. Well, who wouldn't? Mariah was just trying to get her lady parts to settle down after being that close to being eliminated. I'm so serious. I have to say, I quite like that saying, my lady parts settle down. Like, hey girl, how are your lady parts? Oh, there've been complaints. I'm just saying. And Mariah's lady parts were ready to fight to not let that happen again. The other gag was that Shea Coulee beat Alyssa Edwards in the lip sync. Or Alyssa let her win. It depends on who you talk to. But either way, Alexis Mateo knew coming into this contest that Shea Coulee would be the queen to beat, and that she's not afraid to compete with her. Let Shea win her challenge. Alexis's eye was on the big prize, a crown and $100,000. Seriously. And the next day in the workroom, Alexis proved it by wearing a crown hat, which nobody really seemed to notice because they were all focused on Ongina's mirror message. And you could tell that Alexis was still angry about Ongina leaving. And I feel that she was taking it out on Cracker because she wasn't accepting Cracker's excuse for her alleged attack of Ongina before the main challenge. And she wasn't the only one. Mayhem wasn't buying Cracker's excuse either. I mean, who lifts somebody up by kicking them down? I love Alexis for calling out Cracker for apologizing to Ongina after Ongina had left. And Alexis laid down the law by telling the other queens that if she didn't trust them, she would be sending them home. Grandma Barbie wasn't fooled. She felt that it was Alexis who was playing the head games. And if there's one thing I've learned in life, it's don't try to fool a grandma. You don't get this old by being stupid. Seriously. Thank goodness Ru showed up looking fabulous in a double-breasted festive suit to give the queens this week's main challenge. And can I just have a second to ask, where the hell are the mini challenges? Did they just stop trying? Anyway, this week's challenge was Shantae, Enjoy Your Stay, a rehash on the Club 96 Queen of Clubs challenge from All Stars 3. But this time, the queens had to make over a room in a 5-star boutique hotel. So the queens were divided into teams. Team 1 was Shea Coulee, Mariah Paris Balenciaga, and Ms. Cracker. And I just need to ask, was anyone else a little sad not to see Cracker teamed up with Alexis? Team 2 was India, Juju, and Alexis, which of course left Mayhem and Blair on Team 3. Clearly, Mayhem's going to do all the heavy lifting on Team 3. By the way, heavy lifting was my drag queen name in high school. So the queens got to it, and I agree with Blair. This challenge was very difficult. For Mayhem, I mean, seriously, Blair, glitter? Who uses glitter in a 5-star hotel that doesn't have the words Disney Princess on the title? Swarovski, darling. Over on Team 2, Juju wasn't threatened by Alexis and India's Say Something hat game because she was full of ideas. Well, just that one, Wild Alaska. And I have to say, when she started talking about ice and snow, I was with her on that. I mean, it sounded to me like Hotel de Glace in Quebec or the original Ice Hotel in Sweden. But she kind of lost everybody, including me, when she started talking about the Alaskan pipeline. The real one, not some finishing move. It's probably why Alexis suggested a tropical theme instead. Over on Team 1, I liked Shea's idea of a Golden Girls themed suite, but then I had a flashback to Raven's B. Arthur on All Stars 1. And I was scared for Shea. And then it was time for the queens to inspect their bare suites. Sounds dirty. Mariah was a little miffed to find out that she would actually have to do the work. She's not that girl. She's a designer. This seemed to be a running theme with Team 2, where moving furniture was concerned. Come on, ladies. It's Wicker. Seriously. Over on Team 3, Blair and Mayhem were not running short of options for their opulent suite, which isn't always a good thing, I'm just saying. Something else that wasn't good was Mariah shading Team 2's paint job by dipping her brush in. Literally. Of course, this thrilled Alexis, who handled it by giving Shea Coulee a big green X and telling her to sashay away. Probably the only time that'll happen. The next day in the workroom, as the queens were getting ready to show off their suites, Alexis pointed out to her team that this challenge wasn't just about designing these suites. It was about their personalities and how they worked together to show the suites off. Something that worried India because, well, not having a big personality is the reason she got the boot on season 3. And that's not shade. It's a fact. Look it up. Over on Team 3, Mayhem and Blair were feeling the pressure of it all, but they both agreed it would have been a whole lot worse if Cracker had been on their team. Mayhem made a good point about Cracker's answer for everything, adding to her aura of insincerity. Coincidentally, Aura of Insincerity was the name of my one-woman show in high school. Over on Team 1, the queens were feeling very proud of themselves for their Miami sunset-themed room, and I was there for them until Shea said that they were all going to be playing Golden Girls-themed characters. Then I worried. On a brighter note, it seemed that the positive experience working with Shea and Mariah was helping Cracker get over her poor decision-making, which made me feel happy for her because it's a terrible thing to go through life thinking you're a bad person, especially when you're not. And Cracker's not a bad person. She just doesn't think before she acts. And I'm sorry, if you haven't got a handle on that by the time you're 36, get used to pissing people off. And then Cracker did it again. While talking to her team, she listed the All Stars 5 queens that she respects. Mariah, Shea, and Juju. In a workroom full of other queens. She didn't mention India, Blair, Mayhem, or Alexis. But Alexis was the only queen to get her nose out of joint, or to see another opportunity to ruffle Cracker's feathers. Either way, all of a sudden, it was Shark Week on RuPaul's Drag Race. Ooh, that would be a good challenge. Thank God Shay piped in, and she was right. No one was talking to Alexis, and if Alexis wants to shade Cracker's bad timing, it doesn't bring it home for her to do the exact same thing to Cracker. Seriously. But then Alexis brought up a good point. She said she was glad that Cracker understood where she was coming from because it's hard for her to communicate in a second language. Well, at least I thought it was a good point until Juju said that Alexis had been talking pretty good for the past hour, and India didn't disagree. These are Alexis's teammates. And then it was time for the queens to show off their suites. First up, Michelle and Ross visited Team 1's Golden Gals Palace. This room had everything. A phone to call the grandchildren, comfy robe and slippers, a walker with the tennis balls already attached, and a welcome basket filled with girthy meats, which Mariah shared with Jason. I don't know, those meats don't look so girthy to me, but then I've got big hands. Tell your friends. They even had an emergency alert button so you could call the gentleman caller butler service. God, I nearly passed out when Bruno walked in those tidy whities. The only real slip up that seemed to happen was Cracker calling a cheesecake a cream cheese pie. Side note, I was actually reading something last week about cheesecake and how it isn't a cake. It is a pie because it's got a crust. Well, it's just too bad that the Golden Girls didn't make eating cream cheese pie a thing. Just saying. Next up was Team 2's Glamazone Suite, a lush, tropical escape room. Wait, no, that's not right. A lush, tropical oasis that seemed to be decorated with furniture made by Juju's grandma's own two hands. It featured lush foliage and sumptuous fruits and a golden shower head. I didn't get it. I think it was a missed opportunity. They should have called it your own personal rainforest. Imagine if that came in a handheld. I'd never leave the forest. And neither did Michelle or Nicole Byer. And why would you? With Bruno and Jason in their tidy whities on all fours. Seriously, if I'd been in that room, I would have pushed Nicole down by her face to get on Bruno. Shut it. Last but not least was Team 3's 24-karat experience, a rich suite dripping in gold and hosted by Blair and LeMay, who wasn't wearing LeMay at all. For me, this suite was memories of Club 96, which is probably why I liked it so much. It featured a magic mirror that was, well, magic as long as LeMay was standing next to it, a selfie chaise that barely had enough room for Blair, and a 24-karat gift basket with a golden baseball they tried to pawn off as a bath bomb. Who were they kidding? Michelle and international interior designer Martin Lawrence Ballard were on brand for this suite because, as they admitted to their hostesses, they're rich too. And then it was time for the runway, and would somebody please just tell Ru to stop it? Seriously, this dress. It looked like Big Bird got tagged at Pride. I'm so serious. I mean, what did Zaldi do? Run out of fabric? I don't know who's got more nerve. Ru for wearing these things or Zaldi for making them. I'm just saying. Joining Ru on the judges panel this week, of course, Michelle Visage and Ross Matthews, but also the hilarious and gorgeous Nicole Byer and award-winning international interior designer Martin Lawrence Ballard. This week's runway category, 3 looks in 1. Blair St. Clair was first, and she looked gorgeous in her boxy pink jacket, which hid her boxy yellow mod dress, which hid her gorgeous copper sequin jumpsuit. The thing that really sold this last look for me was the fact that she didn't have a wig change, she had a wig style change. She just let it all down. She looked good. Next was Mayhem Miller, who gave us a true 3 looks in 1 runway. See, this is what I thought Ru meant by 3 looks in 1, not 3 reveals. Sorry, Blair. Mayhem had a look that went from curbside to poolside in 2 easy steps. Remove the jacket, it's a sundress. Remove the skirt, everybody into the pool. And she finished it off with a wig reveal. Good for Mayhem. Oddly enough, I liked everything about Alexis's first look. Well, except for the hat, but I guess it helped sell the circus theme. Under that, she had what she called the ballerina look, but I wish that the skirt had been shorter. I think it would have looked more ballerina-esque, because I don't think anyone in the circus wears long skirts. And then under that, she had a trapeze artist costume. All in all, some good looks from Alexis, seriously. India Ferrah was next, and I just have to say, I love this look right out of the gate. But then, I'm a whore for houndstooth. And then she ditched the skirt to reveal pants, but only for a minute, because then they were gone, so was the capelet, to leave whatever you call this look. I don't know. I'm not saying I didn't like it, but India said she was inspired by a 1990s Vogue cover, and I have to say, I've never seen this look on the cover of anything. Juju was next, and I'm sorry, but I did not like her runway, mostly because it looked cheap. The witch off the top was okay, but that Christmas look underneath wasn't very jolly, and as cute as that bunny was, it was still pretty basic, even with the wig change. Just saying. Now, I have no idea what Mariah Paris Balenciaga was wearing off the top, but I loved it. Those sunglasses / helmet and that marabou jacket, gorgeous. Then she ditched them to reveal a little black dress that was cute, and then that LBD became a long black gown with a silver encrusted breastplate, which was okay, but all in all, it was pretty underwhelming. Miss Cracker was next, and all I could think off the top was I hope she wasn't counting that egg cocoon as an actual look, because, I mean, it didn't look like clothes. That would be like calling your car your evening gown. I'm just saying. But it all seemed to work with her Anastasia-themed concept, which was Fabergé egg, ball gown, underwear. All the highlights. And then, once again, Shea Coulee blew me out of the water. She said she based this look off of Lisa Frank's designs and a maple moth. Who's ever heard of a maple moth? I'm Canadian and I've never heard of a maple moth, but look how cute they are, all pink and yellow. I'm so serious. Anyway, Shea started off in an inflated cocoon-like skirt, which she stepped out of to reveal, well, an unimpressive soft pink skirt. And then she ditched that to reveal colorful legs and wings that didn't look very moth-like. But all in all, I was impressed. And then it was time to be judged. Ru started it all off by announcing her favorite suite, which was the 24-karat experience, which shocked the hell out of Mayhem. But then Ru said the top queen for the week wasn't in the winning room, which seemed to shock Mayhem even more, and just pissed off Blair. Who was the top queen of the week? Well, it was none other than Grandma Barbie herself, Jujubee. And then it was her turn to look stunned. Seriously, I can't believe that she's never won a challenge. And she's been to the finale twice. Needless to say, it was an emotional moment for Ms. Jujubee and a huge relief to Mayhem and Blair because they were safe and were allowed to frig off to the Untucked Lounge. And then it was time for the judges' critiques. Alexis was first, and everyone seemed very pleased with her performance. And Michelle was particularly impressed that she gave us 3 different looks on the runway. The only problem is, she just wasn't that impressed by them. Ross himself said that he didn't like her second look at all. Seems like it's becoming an awkward situation for somebody who's been picking on another queen. Everyone loved India's runway, especially Martin Lawrence Ballard, who said he wanted to make a chair out of the fabric. As for her performance, though, India got lost behind the bigger personalities again. Michelle called Mariah out for her first look, saying that a jacket does not an outfit make. And I have to agree. Blair Sinclair! The judges were also not very impressed by Mariah's performance. Ross said she was playing Blanche Devereaux, the original Samantha Jones. He wanted more whore. Well, who doesn't in a hotel room? In fact, the judges were disappointed by all the queens on Team 1. Not their runways. I mean, the only runway they seemed to really like was Ms. Cracker's, but it was the performances that really let them down. So much for being a friend. There was a tense moment for me there where it looked like Cracker was going to throw Alexis under the bus when she was talking about how hard it is for her to learn to work with people. But Nicole Byer shut that down by saying, who cares about anyone else? Be you. Who cares what anyone else is doing? Here's to Nicole. Seriously. So, who was safe? Oddly enough, it was Cracker and Alexis, which left India and Mariah in the bottom again. Along with, gasp, Shea Coulee! Seriously, it's an understatement to say it was a little tense backstage. Shea was totally gobsmacked, and she wasn't the only one. All of the queens seemed to be shocked that she was in the bottom. Well, except for India and Mariah, who were having their own demons to battle being in the bottom themselves for a second time. So Juju got right down to it by talking to the bottom queens. Mariah was upset that Michelle felt that she had been half-stepping, but she couldn't deny that she did have to work on her personality. Of course, none of this helped Juju make her decision, but then Mariah said they all knew coming into All Stars that they would have to make these big decisions. Seriously. Shea Coulee made her case with the rest of the queens by saying that she'd hoped she'd earned their respect enough for them to let her continue in the competition. And then she impressed me by saying that no matter what, the queens had to make this decision for themselves. Way to not manipulate the masses, Ms. Coulee. Unfortunately, this opened the idea of sending Shea home and removing the competition with some of the other queens. Alexis Bate. Shea continued her sentiment with Juju, who was unfortunately seeing this as an opportunity for her to get rid of the competition. One thing that really touched my heart was Mariah taking a moment while she was making her case to the other queens to tell Cracker that initially out of the gate she was worried to work with her, but at the end of the day, she wouldn't have wished for a better team. Something Cracker really needed to hear. Bless. And then it was time to vote, because apparently nobody wanted to talk to India, I'm just saying. And we got to see more than a few of the queens' choices, which made it obvious that Shea was in danger, girl. Then, after Juju made her choice, it was back to the main stage to see who this week's secret lip sync assassin was. And it was none other than co-winner of Season 3 of All Stars, Monet Exchange. And I was worried for Juju. Not that Juju's not an assassin herself. She may not have won a challenge before on RuPaul's Drag Race, but she has won almost every one of her lip syncs. And there have been a lot. No offense to Shea, but this lip sync was way better than last week's. First of all, Juice by Lizzo, fabulous. Second of all, when Monet made this move, I knew it was all over. And so I think did Shea, because she started praying to everything that was holy that Monet didn't have her lipstick up her sleeve. Just saying. Well, Shea's prayers must have worked, because as hard as Juju tried, and she really wanted that $10,000, it was Monet who won the lip sync. And whose lipstick did she have up her sleeve? Well, sadly, it was Mariah's, which kind of surprised me. I was expecting India to get voted out only because the queens know Mariah more. But I think that pact that India made with Mayhem must have tipped the scales. If so, well played, India. Seriously. So, only 7 queens left. Who do you think will be the next to go? India better step it up, or the third time for her will not be a charm, I'm just saying. Also, I'm worried about Alexis. She's been so aggressive in that workroom that I think she's starting to pit some of those queens against her. I'm just saying. All we can do is tune into RuPaul's Drag Race next week to find out how it all falls out. And then once you're done, you come on back and you see me so you and I can compare notes. Please don't forget to like this video if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And if you want to support me through PayPal, Patreon, or Redbubble, all the links are down below. Until next week, miss me! Mwah! Seriously, Jorge. This cheap lazy margarita? Oh, I said cheap. Cheap is better than lazy.